Hi there, this is Nicole Watkins, Director of Author Support with Morgan James Publishing. And today I am speaking with Amy Carpenter, author of Be Strong, Be Wise, The Young Adult's Guide to Sexual Assault Awareness and Personal Safety. Amy, thank you so much for being here today to discuss your upcoming release and just a very, very important topic.
I agree. Thank you. Yeah, I've been looking forward to the interview, and it's been a wonderful process working with Morgan James and going on the really unique road of publishing a book. So I'm really excited.
Absolutely, absolutely, and thank you so much for that. And I know I speak for our team. We're just very excited to be on this journey with you. And I would really like to just dive in and ask, why you believe this book is important right now, though we're in a pandemic.
That's a great question. And I feel really passionately about the subject in general and the timeliness of it in general, that it's an important subject no matter what. We are having less ability to talk about sexual ethics and sexual safety with young people. And I think there's a lot of reasons for that. Um, but what they are exposed to, what our young people are exposed to in the media, in pornography, really kind of everywhere in our culture, is not being balanced by the conversations that help them navigate it, help them discover who they are, how to separate themselves from it. So I think it's a really important issue at any point in time. Why I feel as though the pandemic actually creates even more importance is for several reasons. One, that young people are at home more, or in their college dorms. They are probably understimulated as far as anything off their screens. Their screens are getting more, not less time. But they also are a bit of a captive audience. So we have more opportunity to do some education, some constructive conversation that we will miss when life goes back to normal. So there's that, but even more importantly, experience is how we all learn. And young people discover their personal boundaries, their personal voice through experience and relationships in the world. And right now, they're not able to do that. They're behind closed doors in their dorm room or at home. And I would argue that we're missing that. That causes them to miss an important opportunity of self-discovery that I'm concerned will be harder for them again when we go back to normal, because there will be all that time. I mean, it's more than a year that they'll have missed all of that social conditioning. That's part of individuating, that's part of growing up. So I do have a lot of concerns. And of course, there's the added factor that young people are more likely to not follow social distancing. They're more likely to engage in substances that, compromise decision making. So there's that layer too, which of course has safety concerns around health, but also has concerns around, sexual safety as well. So there's many layers to it, but
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. And what feedback would you give to young people right now?
I had a client, so I'm a psychotherapist, that's my background, and a relationship coach. And I had a young woman I worked with many years ago, and I really loved her. We had a great therapist-client relationship. And she said to me in our very last session, she said, if you could offer any advice to a young person like me, she was 18. My book is written for primarily 18-year-olds. She said, what would you say? And my answer was, love thyself. And I think that's really important advice for anyone, but especially for young people who are coming into their independence with, again, a lot of confusing messages, a lot of information around sex and relationships that isn't real, that isn't accurate, and is causing harm to their relationships, platonic and romantic. So knowing oneself, which is what in part my book is about, is developing self-knowledge, developing communication skills, and healthy boundaries, and navigating relationships on every front. But that self-love is like the oil in the machine. It's like what drives forward movement and our understanding of ourselves in the world from a place of self-compassion. And I think for young people, that's really important.
Sure.
We've given them a tall order, and we need to help them, follow through in making it happen.
Absolutely. And I think on the flip side of that, what feedback would you give to the parents and the teachers and, just some of the other caring adults that, surround these younger people?
Yeah, that's a great question. Um, I talk a lot to parents and teachers and counselors, and in the program that we're offering at the high school and college level, it's been lovely to work with caring adults who really want a roadmap for how to have these hard conversations with young people
Mm-hmm.
and how to talk about sexual ethics. But I think the biggest feedback I would offer to a caring adult, regardless of their role, is be comfortable with the uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Have the hard conversations, even if they're weird or awkward. Um, I actually, in my experience in teaching the class at the high school and college level, young people, partly because of what they're exposed to, are very capable of having these conversations. They want to. They're hungry for it. So it's sometimes the adults that have a harder time. So I would just encourage folks to start. They can be short, 5 or 10 minute casual conversations like you and I are having now, about the definition of sexual assault. What does unwanted sexual touch mean to their particular young person? And just, begin to develop that discretionary thinking that is much more supportive of safe outcomes. So that happens through conversation and asking young people to think about some of these things that define them as people. So that would be my biggest advice for adults is, just start. You can't, trying to have the conversation, if it's awkward, that doesn't mean it's wrong. And I guarantee that whatever you end up saying in that conversation, your young person, even if they don't tell you, will be thinking about it after the fact and will be applying it to their own life.
Absolutely. And I think, you touch on such an important aspect of, especially this topic and with parents, I think in general. I'm a parent myself. My son, he's only 6, but it's really giving our children, whether it's again parents or teachers or aunt, uncle, whatever it may be, just really laying that foundation of open communication. Because like you said, I think there's so many adults out there, and especially parents, that as our children go through these different stages, it's like, oh, I don't even want to have that conversation with them. But it's like you say, many of them are already having and trying to sort out these things in their own minds, that having that open communication, having that safe environment for them to be able to explore and collect this information is so important for their overall development and independence as they're going out into, these different situations. Because if we're not talking to them about it, then as you said, they're getting it from the internet, they're getting it from their friends. We don't, all of that is coming in there. And just to be able to have that open communication and be able to foster that, I think is so very important. I really appreciate, the insight and the things that you've said today. And I know that those watching today, whether they're parents or teachers or maybe even some young people, if they want to learn more about, some of the things that you're offering, and especially how they can learn more about the book, where's going to be the best place that they can stay connected with you?
Yeah. So the best place would be through my website, bestrongbewise.com. And on the website, there's a place to download or a place to purchase the book. There's testimonials and reviews. There's some articles and media samples. And there's my contact information, and I encourage anybody who is interested in talking about this further. This is my passion. I talk about it all day. I love to talk about it. So feel free to reach out. My contact is on the website, and again, it's bestrongbewise.com.
Excellent, excellent. And to also remind those watching, if you connect with Amy through her website, she's got information there on purchasing the book, but just also know that Amy's book is available through your favorite retailer. So again, Amy, thank you so much for today's time and just your utmost important message today.
Thank you, Nicole, so very much.